Hi, I am Sara Siddiqui Chansarkar. I am an American Indian, and originally I am from India, and I immigrated to the US about 15 years ago. And I am a first generation immigrant. And the reason why I'm here today is because of this. So, this is my book. The title of this book is Morsels of Purple, and it was published in October of 2021. So, why Morsels of Purple? I just want to speak a little bit about the title. So, it's morsels because it's a collection of very short fiction. So, the stories in this collection range from somewhere between one paragraph, one page to about 2 to 3 pages. So, very small bites. That's why I just chose the word morsels, and purple because purple is internationally the color of that symbolizes women and stands for dignity and justice. So all the characters of my story are women, and women that are caught in moments of change or realization or reconciliation. And this collection is actually a very cross-cultural collection spread across different cultures and different geographic locations as well. So the characters in this collection, the main characters are from women from India and also women from the US and also across different cultures and faiths. So there are Muslim women or Hindu women, and also there is a story about a Catholic girl. So this collection is basically about the relationships and that women are in, like whether it be a daughter or a mother or a sister or a daughter-in-law, and how the different challenges and issues that these relationships bring, and how women just carve out or emerge into their identities with the different events or the relationships that they're in. So I'm going to read a few paragraphs from 4 of my stories that I've picked that highlight a different relationship or a different phase in a woman's life. So this is basically like a mosaic. This book is like a mosaic, and when I first came to the country, I wrote a lot about immigration, about adapting to a different culture and a different landscape. So some of my stories highlight that, like the nostalgia, the homesickness, and the newness of the new environment. So the first story, or the first 3 paragraphs that I will read are from my story titled "The Wind of Your Life." So this story is not autobiographical, but there are some elements of truth in it. It's a fictionalized version of an immigrant woman's story. So here it is, the wind of your life. The wind you couldn't feel in your hair as you traveled with your husband in an airplane with 4 windows to the land of promise and plenty, the USA. You watched your soil slipping away, the roots you had sprouted tugging, a life in a foreign land within a studio apartment, meals of boxed bread, mac and cheese, eaten at a garage sale plastic table, your toddler watching no one from the balcony, his pee trickling down the slats one day, the woman in the apartment below yelling and poking in the wooden floor with a mop stick. The wind combing your hair in the Corolla as you rode to Niagara Falls, the first road trip in the pre-owned vehicle your husband bought with the $5,000 loaned by his employer. Your boy counting the 18-wheelers passing by, crying for vending machine M&Ms at the rest areas. You penny pinched, saved everything, and reused it. The orange Pico tea bags, the Ziplocs you packed the boys' lunch in, the cotton balls you cleansed your face with. While he worked long hours, your husband, for a promotion. The wind combing your hair as you rode in the new Honda CR-V to a new life in a new suburban house. The boy asking to play the car radio instead of your Bollywood music. A life in 3 bedrooms plus loft, 2.5 baths, a 6-seater dining table, the boy's room with glow in the night, planets and galaxies. on the ceiling of his room, a king mattress with buttressed head and footboards, which you had to be careful with when making love. The wind you didn't let in your hair as you rolled up the windows, riding home after dropping the boy, his trombone, and trunk to the college dorm. A life of 3 now carried by 2, replete with a stacked fridge and overflowing pantry, yet strumming with gnawing emptiness. Your voice echoing through the rooms as you called the boy still for dinner. A life of cold bed linens as your husband worked late into the nights, his body aching and clamoring for attention, his glucose level and blood pressure fluctuating. Then a life of 1 after you found him collapsed over the laptop one morning, his glasses still on his face, his arm dangling down the edge of the table. A life of stifling stillness, your husband trapped in an urn on the mantle, waiting to be released in the holy waters of River Ganga back home. The wind, static and stale, with the charcoal gray Lexus parked in the garage. You never learned to drive, you never wanted to. Velocity and acceleration unnerved you. Wedged between the car and the garage wall waits your Schwinn bicycle. You pull the cobwebs from the spokes, oil the chain links, and inflate the tires. The wind combing your hair on the bicycle ride to the nearest grocery store, 4 miles over. Your knees and will are still strong. So this was 2 or 3 paragraphs from that story. So as I was talking about immigration, as I came to the country, I was starting to grow closer to the life I had only read in some books or seen in the movies. So the culture of pancakes and bacon and lawn mowing and football madness and the Halloween trick or treats. So everything, I was closer to that life. And then I felt emboldened enough to write about stories with American characters, and I started doing that. So here I'm going to read a couple of stories where the main characters of my stories are women, but now they are American women. So the first story, the second story that I'm going to read today, I'm not going to read the whole story, just a few paragraphs. So this is a story of a childless woman, a woman who is not able to conceive a child, but she is yearning to be a mother. She wants to be a mother. So here she's at a breakfast place and she's playing with another woman's baby. She just asked another woman to hold her baby, and the woman was relieved because she wanted to enjoy the breakfast with her friends. So here she is with another woman's baby, and I'll read a few paragraphs from here. Emily's tiny hands, smelling of baby lotion, play on my face. Her fingers poke my eyes, grab my nose, then linger on my lips before exploring my teeth. She brings her mouth to my face, her 2 incisors nibbling my cheek, her stringy drool soaking my chin. Last October, my next-door neighbor and I planted tulip bulbs together. This spring, her yard has green plants all around the perimeter. Some are even blooming and flowering. But my soil is dormant, unyielding. My husband, seeing the despair in my eyes, brought me a potted ivy houseplant. I have placed the clay pot in the kitchen island where the sunlight hits the strongest and stays the longest. I take care of the plant, trim away the yellowing leaves, and water it when needed. It's growing profusely, some stems hanging down the granite. I cannot birth, but I can nurture. Emily's mother is engrossed in conversation with her friends. The women are discussing hard gel manicures, pastel dresses, and mauve lipsticks for the spring gala, while Emily is playing in my lap. What sort of a woman ignores her baby for friends? I squeeze the baby to my chest and kiss her strawberry curls. She's cuddly, quiet, and pliable, as if she belongs here in my arms. The warmth inside my heart rises like bread dough when yeast is added. I half turned my head to peek at the mother and her friends. A waiter arrives at their table with omelets and pancakes. He's a lively lad who engages the women in conversation. Who wants milk in their coffee? Who wants cheese with the omelette? What's everyone doing over the weekend, etc. Seizing the moment of opportunity, I pull my poncho over Emily's head. She does not resist. I walk out of the restaurant, her cheek resting on my shoulder, her breath warming my ear. So this was a story of a childless woman. And next, I have chosen a story which is about a young girl who drops out of school to marry her sweetheart, because she wants to be with this person and she does not finish her education, and how life unfolds for her, whether she's happy with her decision or what happens later in her life. So this is 2 paragraphs from that story. The title of this story is This Your Life. The car I drove had a rust-infested body, cigarette-burned seats, and a 4-inch hole on the floor. I parked it behind the gas station where I was a cashier, leered at by stubble-faced men, rebuked by the tattooed owner for not refilling the coffee pot. My husband used to be asleep when I left our shoddy shack for work. He returned after I slept. The sound of him stumbling over the plastic stools, followed by cussing, awakened me. He lay on top of the covers with a heavy limp across my body, his clothes reeking of alcohol and tobacco. My mother visited me once. I did not know she knew where I lived or whether I lived. I fixed her a plate of spaghetti without meatballs. This your life? She flung open the mini fridge, revealing the naked, abashed racks. This the man you married? She swiveled her neck toward the guilty-looking bottles by the sink. This what you left for? She poked a finger at the dark circles under my eyes. This what you dropped out of school for? She pointed outside the window at the dangling side mirror of my car, throwing spots of light on my dismalness. Now, today, this new car is mine. It doesn't sound like a tractor when I turn the key in its ignition. It doesn't need to be jump-started, not even on cold evenings after being parked outside the pharmacy, where I am now a pharmacist. It does not hiccup at traffic lights. It does not skid on icy streets. It does store seat settings for 2 drivers, D1 and D2. But what's the point when the only driver is D1? So through these stories, these are of course fictional stories, but I also have tried to bring up some issues that women face, and those are universal, though the extent to which they might affect women might differ from country to country and culture to culture. So these are issues like misogyny and gender discrimination and childlessness, and also the unreasonable expectations of women out of marriage. So in many cultures, women are groomed for marriage. So this is how you should behave, and this is how you should be. Still, I mean, in this century, when human beings are going to Mars and want to set up colonies on other planets, but here the women are still suffering that just discrimination and not given an equal position in the society. So the next story is that I will be reading. The first paragraph is about an Indian mother, a woman who grooms her daughter or prepares her for marriage and gives her a list of do's and don'ts, explaining the wifely duties that she should be doing when she's married. And in this story, I have used some Hindi words, that is my mother tongue, and also there are some references to food which be new and foreign to people, but I hope from the context that I've used them, you would get the meaning of those. So this is the first paragraph. After your wedding, don't call your husband by his name. Address him respectfully as Sunte ho or AG. Wipe under your arms and breasts. Stick a jasmine bud in your hair every night. Massage his legs in bed when he's too tired for anything else. Don't go to sleep before him. Don't wake up after him. Make a fire first thing in the morning to heat water for his bath. Scrub his white underwear and soak it in a solution of indigo for brightness. Fold it into neat squares and arrange it in little towers in his cupboard. Pour him a glass of cool water from the surahi when he returns from work. Make him a cup of chai. Actually, make him a cup of chai whenever he's sitting idle. Don't make him a watery chai. Use 3 parts milk and 1 part water. Crushed cardamoms for aroma, a little nutmeg for its stimulating effect. Roll out soft, thin rotis for him that break between 2 fingers. Make sure their edges are cooked and they puff up like balls on the flame. Serve them hot, smeared with butter and a smile. Urge him to take 1 more, like you really mean it. Add a dollop of ghee to his dal. Don't surprise him by telling him you're going to your ma's place whenever you want to. Ask his permission first. But, can't I visit you when I want, Ma? Toss your impulsiveness back into this house with the handful of rice grains you'll throw overhead on your vidai, the departure ceremony after your wedding. So this was the story after your wedding, and this is the last story of my book, and this is inspired by Jamaica Kincaid's very famous story, The Girl, that was in New Yorker sometime in the 1970s, I believe. So also one thing I wanted to tell about this book is that this is not arranged in a chronological fashion. It's not that there's a girl who's growing up and the story, advances with age or something. So it's not chronological. It's not divided into sections by geographic areas, that the first half of the stories are in India, the next are in the USA. It's not like that. The way I have envisioned this book is like a quilt. So each patch is very different from each other, but each holds its place still in the bigger picture, and each contributes to the beauty and diversity of the collection. And I hope from the small snippets that I have read here, you've got an idea of what the book is about. And this is available on Amazon.com, so I hope you will check this out there. And that will be a tremendous impetus to my writing if you would support me and my book. And lastly, of course, I would like to thank the Lakewood Public Libraries for hosting me, for allowing me to, for inviting me to be here and talk to everybody about my book and my writing. So please do check out the Lakewood Public Libraries when you are in the Cleveland area. Thank you.